Can I read it? General Hospital, 54, HSP 79, VTR 316, air 330.
Yes, it's Dr. Rick Lesley.
Of course I love you. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't be here. And I hope with all my heart that we can get back together again.
This is the only way, Richie.
I don't know how else to do it. I can't let you make love to me now. I'd feel like a prostitute knowing that all the time you were wishing for someone else.
Why do you keep saying that? That is not the case.
I believe it's the truth. And I have got to find a way to come out of all of this as a whole human being, Rick. I just have to.
Yes?
That's me, Rick. May I come in?
Yes, of course.
It seems a little strange to ask permission to come into our own bedroom.
No stranger than it does to me. Was that something important on the phone?
It was the official call that Lee told us to expect. Laura's hearing will be at 4 o'clock this afternoon.
Well, I'm glad we didn't tell her about it last night. She just would have spent as sleepless a night as I did.
I didn't sleep much myself, but we do have to tell her, and I think we have to tell her right away.
Yeah, I know. If only you could have gotten the bartender to tell the truth.
We may have something.
What?
Well, after I went to bed last night, I called Scotty, and we're going to see Lou Proctor. If we can convince him to tell the truth, that he tricked Laura into coming to the table, then we can discredit the bartender's testimony and substantiate Laura's.
Wasn't he the least little bit suspicious when you told him your name?
Well, I made the appointment in Scotty's name.
Well, I hope you can do it. I hope you can make him tell the truth.
So do I, because if she goes in there with the evidence stacked against her the way it is, I'm worried about the outcome.
Scotty, walking back and forth isn't going to make time go any faster, so why don't you just go over to Laura's right now?
I can't, Brian, because I'm waiting for Howard so that we can go over there together.
You know, it's a shame that you and Howard Lansing couldn't break that bartender down.
Yeah, tell me about it. Brian, I've got to find out why he's lying and who's trying to set Laura up, otherwise she's going to be in big... Oh, that's Howard. I'll get it. Yeah,
Good morning. Yeah.
Just let me get my coat.
Okay.
Set to go.
Brian, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, Mr. Lansing. You know, Scotty and I were just talking about it.
Hey, Brian, listen, I'm sorry, but I haven't talked to Laura yet this morning, and I know she's going to be worried that I haven't called her, so
Oh,
I'll
sure,
see.
sure. Okay, look, good luck to both of you, okay?
Howard's gone to pick up Scotty. They'll be here soon.
Good.
Wish we had more time.
I'm sure that Judge Stallman is concerned about the incident the other night.
Yes.
I wonder if he hadn't already reached his decision until this happened.
And this is going to affect what he decides. What is Laura going to do when we tell her... When you tell me what?
Your mom and I have been waiting to talk to you, Laura, but before we do, I'd like you to promise me something first.
Promise you what?
But that you just listen and don't get upset and jump to any of the wrong conclusions.
What happened? Will you please stop torturing me like this? All
Laura.
Rick means is, what we're going to tell you may shock you at first, but if you'll just be patient, and hear it out, then you'll find that it really is better that it happens this way.
What is better?
Lee called Judge Stallman last night and found out that your hearing is scheduled for 4 o'clock today.
4 o'clock?
Honey, by tonight, it'll all be over.
And so will everything else. My fresh start at state, Scotty, it's all going to be over. They're going to send me away.
No, don't think that. Please don't think that.
Why not? That's what you're thinking. I can see it in your eyes. You're as scared as I am.
Laura, Howard is coming over here right now. He'll sit down and talk with you, go over the things in case Judge Stallman wants to know about the other night.
In case? Dad, that's the only reason he wants to see me today.
Laura, Judge Stallman is to review your case and have a final decision in 6 months. The 6 months are up now.
And how convenient for all of them that I broke my curfew and I went out to that nightlife cafe just before they made the terrible mistake of letting Laura Weber go free to contaminate the innocent people of Port Charles.
Laura, the judge and Mr. Higgins have always been very fair with you. And they're not going to want to see all the wonderful progress you've made over the past 6 months go for nothing.
But the people who read the Chronicle do. They've been waiting for it ever since that woman started writing all those stories about me.
Honey, those stories will stop, too, once you've seen the judge.
Oh, I know that. And what a perfect ending to all her stories. Laura Weber from courtroom to campus to reform school.
Would you mind telling me what that stupid smirk is all about? What's so damn funny?
You, Joe College.
Hey, look, I don't laugh at you because you take nursing school. So I'd appreciate it if you didn't laugh at me because I take a few courses at college.
Luke, it's not the courses. It's the way you look. All dressed up in your crew neck sweater and your little corduroy pants with your hair all neatly combed. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you started wearing saddle shoes and a raccoon coat next.
If that's what the other college dudes are wearing, baby, that's what I'll wear.
Since when you do what everybody else does?
Never. I never do what everybody else does, but I can give that impression if I need to. I can do, be, or wear anything necessary to get what I want. Do you understand?
Sure.
What now?
Luke, if you should happen to run into Laura Weber on campus today, would you give her a message for me? Would you please tell her that I know how much she's enjoyed the first 2 or 3 days of college, and how much she's going to miss it all in reform school. But in 20 or 30 years, when they parole her for good behavior, she can always go back to state as a senior citizen and take night courses.
Oh, that's funny. That is so funny.
Oh, I thought so. What was your sense of humor this morning?
Are you on something today?
No, I'm just happy. Finally, after all of our months of planning, we're going to see that little brat get hers.
Our months of planning? Our planning?
Well, I helped.
Oh, yeah, you helped. You helped yourself to my buddy Roy DeLuca. That's how you helped.
Luke, I almost forgot to tell you. Last night, we went to dinner, and after that, we went over to the nightlife cafe, and guess what?
You ran into Higgins?
No, but we almost ran into Scotty and Howard Lansing. Howard's a lawyer, and I'm sure he's representing Laura while Scotty's father is still recuperating.
Well, what are they doing there?
Well, let me finish. When I saw them walk in, my heart almost stopped because I knew that if they saw me there, they would have figured that I engineered the whole thing.
That's right. I told you. I warned you about that. I told you to stay out of that place.
I know. Well, luckily, Roy knew where the back door was, so we sneaked out before they saw us. But guess what else?
As you were sneaking out, Laura was sneaking in?
No, Luke, I mean, before we left, Harry, the bartender, told us that he and the guy that Higgins caught Laura holding hands with have been called to testify against Her Majesty today.
Well, that can't hurt.
Can't hurt, Luke! Once Judge Stallman hears that all about sweet little Laura's escapades at the nightlife cafe, he's going to pick up that phone so fast and call that reform school and have him send over a squad car in a straitjacket. I mean, can't you just see the scene? Little Laura screaming for her mother as 2 of those tough matrons drag her off by the hair.
And Scotty waving bye-bye.
Oh, I wish I could be there to see it.
Well, I'm sorry, baby, but I think that's one bon voyage party you will not be invited to.
Well, Scotty's not going to be invited to Laura's welcoming home party either. Not if I have anything to say about it.
Oh, yeah? How are you going to fix that one?
Luke, Scotty is a normal, healthy guy. He's not going to wait for her forever, you know.
Oh, I get it. I get it. So you're going to help him through those normal, healthy, lonely nights. Is that it?
Yeah. Once I have a chance to remind him of how compatible we used to be and all the fun we used to have, he's not going to have any lonely nights. Or days either.
Honey, no more for me, please.
Jeff, I just poured you a fresh cup.
Okay, I'll drink it. I don't want to do anything this morning to upset you. It took us long enough to make up last night. Good morning, and I hope you're feeling better about things, too.
Yes, I am. But I would feel a lot better if you'd tell me what's really bothering you.
Heather, I promised you I would, just as soon as I've gotten everything else straightened out in my head. And in the meantime, would you please just be patient?
I will, Jeff. But you can't expect everyone to be as patient with your moods as I am.
Meaning?
Steve Hardy. I told you he called again while you were out last night, and you haven't called him back yet.
Because, little worrier, I only had one thing on my mind when I stormed out of here last night, and that was getting back here to make things right between you and me.
You know, you still haven't told me why you got so angry in the first place.
Well, yeah, I'm sorry about that. But when you accused me of not loving you anymore because you had lost the baby, it just seemed like the most ridiculous statement I'd ever heard.
But, Jeff, it wasn't ridiculous. I mean, you didn't start acting strangely toward me until after my miscarriage, so what am I supposed to think?
Honey, just trust me. One has absolutely nothing to do with the other. So let's just drop it, okay?
Jeff, don't just dismiss it like that. I know I'm right. I mean, you and Rick are very family-oriented. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. Rick called 3 times last night, and he seemed very anxious to talk to you.
Well, he's just going to have to wait until I get to the hospital.
Jeff, whatever it is that's bothering you, does it have something to do with your brother and Steve?
What makes you think that?
Because I've given you all these messages, and you seem to invent reasons not to call them back.
Look, I told you I'll see him at the hospital, all right? Look, I gotta go. See you later. Oh, honey, wait a minute. There's something I forgot to ask you.
What?
Well, I remember just now talking to Gina Dante before I left for Hawaii, and she told me that I should talk to you about some precautions you're supposed to be taking.
Precautions?
Yeah. She said I should discuss it with you.
Oh, that. Just the normal precautions a woman takes after having a miscarriage. You know, not lifting things and getting plenty of rest, vitamins, all that stuff.
You're sure that's all it is? For some reason, I sensed that there was something more specific that we should be talking about.
Oh, Jeff, you know Gina, how overly protective of her patients she is, especially me.
Well, personally, I'm glad she is. But listen, if you're keeping something from me because you're afraid I might worry, forget it.
No, I'm not keeping anything from you, Jeff. Hey, will you call me from the hospital later?
Well, yeah, sure. But I swear to you, if you mention one word about my possibly not loving you because you lost the baby, I'll divorce you on the spot, lady.
Jeff, please don't say that.
Just kidding, honest.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm so afraid of losing you.
Listen, if that's for me, I'm on my way, okay?
Hello? Yes, Anne, but he's leaving for the hospital right now. Well, why don't you talk to him when he gets there? Anne, you can just as easily call him there as you did here. Hold on. It's Audrey's niece, Anne. She's very pushy.
What does she want?
She wants to talk to you, and she won't take no for an answer.
Okay. Thanks, baby. Yes, Anne, what is it? Oh, I can't believe it. When?
I'm not sure, Jeff, but Jeremy came down a little while ago looking for Tommy, and that's when I went looking for him, and then I checked Audrey and Steve's room.
Well, maybe the two of them went someplace this morning.
No, Jeff. Audrey's bed hadn't been slept in, and there was a note on her pillow addressed to me saying that she had to go away for a while and think things out, and said she was taking Tommy with her.
Okay, did she say where they might be going?
Yes, to my Aunt Lucille's. She asked if I could contact a replacement to take her nursing classes over, so apparently she plans to be gone for a while.
All right, when's the last time you saw her?
When she came back from visiting Steve, I was with Jeremy playing, so I really didn't have much time to talk, but she stopped in and said she was tired and going right to bed.
Did she tell you anything at all about her visit with Steve?
No, Jeff, but when everyone was asleep, Steve called and wanted to talk to her. I said that I thought she was sleeping, but I'd check.
Was she still in her room then?
Well, I thought she was, because I knocked on her door lightly and she didn't answer. So I assumed she had fallen asleep, but since her bed hadn't been slept in, she could have left before that.
Well, did Steve say anything else to you when he called?
Not really. Well, he did ask me to tell her that when she came down this morning that he'd called and somehow everything was going to work out fine. And now this!
Anne, have you told Steve?
Not yet. I will, though. The question is how.
Yeah, well, it's not going to be easy, that's for darn sure.
Jeff, it would help if you were there with me. Please?
Look, why don't we talk at the hospital, okay?
Or where will you be?
I don't know yet. I'll check my schedule and get in touch with you, all right? Goodbye, Anne.
Jeff, I couldn't help hearing all of that. Is Audrey gone somewhere?
Yeah, Anne found a note from her this morning saying that she took Tommy up to her sister Lucille's for a while.
Just like that?
Just like that.
You know, I don't know one person in this city who's acting like themselves since the epidemic. Not one.
No, I don't either, honey. Listen, I'll talk to you later.
Okay.
Bye.
Hello? Who is this? Answer me. Why are you tormenting me like this? Please, just tell me who you are. Please.
Diana, you should just hang up when you get these calls. The more you show this person how frightened you are, the more he's going to keep calling. That's how they get their kicks.
Why won't he tell me who he is? It's bad enough to pick up that phone and hear the horrible, heavy breathing.
Now, don't get so upset, Diana, please. There's got to be some way of stopping these calls.
Peter says what I should do is just jot down the time of day the phone calls come in and give it to the police department and the phone company. Evidently, there are ways of tracing these crank calls.
Then what are you waiting for?
I just keep praying that they're going to stop. I've had the police over here so many times on false alarms. You know, I tell them about the phone calls and the shadows outside, and I'm sure they're convinced it's just a product of an overactive imagination. They never say anything to me, of course, but I can tell by the kind of questions they ask and their general tone of voice.
But you told me that Heather saw the shadows, too, when she was here with you.
Well, yes, but Heather's just as excitable as I am where PJ's safety's concerned.
Diane, I'm sure this has nothing at all to do with PJ.
I hope not. Maggie, there's been something I've been meaning to ask you. You know that blue suit that PJ has? It's a little sailor suit and it's got the sailboat on the collar.
Oh, sure. Why?
I can't find it anywhere. I've looked through the whole house and I can't seem to find it.
Have you asked Mrs. Ryan or your housekeeper? Maybe they just washed it out and put it in the wrong drawer or something.
No, only you and Heather do his laundry, aside from me. It just seems to have vanished into thin air.
I'm sure it'll turn up again, Diana, and don't get yourself so worked up over it. It's only a suit, and he has so many clothes.
But I'm forgetting so many things lately. The whole thing is just beginning to worry me.
All you need is to get out of this house and get back to work again. Staying home constantly isn't any good for anybody.
Yeah, and thanks to you, I'll be able to do that. Peter and I are both really grateful that you're going to be coming back taking care of PJ.
Does, Heather know that I'm coming back here again?
Well, actually, no, she doesn't. I'm going to tell her today. She volunteered her own services several times, as a matter of fact.
Scotty, I don't see what good it's going to do to go over it all again. It's still my word against Mr. Higgins, no matter how many times I tell it.
Laura, Howard hasn't heard your story yet. Now, how do you expect him to advise you in your testimony if...
Testimony? Then it is a child. I know.
No, Laura. It's just an informal hearing in Judge Stallman's chambers. It's no different than any other time you've been and met with him.
Oh, yes, it is. Because the last time I had Scotty there to back up my story of what happened at the lodge and why I had to break my curfew.
I know, but you still had to tell the judge exactly what happened. And it was still up to you to convince him that you were telling the truth.
But he is not going to believe me this time. I don't have any witnesses. He's going to think that I just made up that story about somebody calling me, claiming to have letters that I wrote to David to cover up the reason I went to the police.
But that's why you went there. That's the truth.
But that is not what Mr. Higgins saw when he walked in there and he saw me sitting with that man. He's never going to believe that that man did tell me that he was Sam McDougal, the man that I went there to meet.
They're going to believe you. They're going to believe you just as we believe you because they will see that it's the truth.
Laura, listen, one thing you can't do is go to pieces or get rattled when you're talking to the judge, because then he's really going to think that you have something to cover up. Right, Howard?
But how can I avoid it? If Mr. Higgins tells him that I ordered a drink and then the bartender said that
Laura, you don't know what Mr. Higgins is going to put in that report or what he's going to recommend to Stallman.
All I know is that he thinks I'm lying about everything now. I could see that in his eyes when I saw him at the hospital yesterday. He doesn't believe a word I say, not a word.
Oh, Laura, why don't you take some time now to go over it all with Howard?
Mother, please, I can't even think clearly now. It just happened too fast.
Laura, listen, if you don't feel like talking about it right now, it's okay. But I do want you to remember one thing.
What?
Now, even though I can't go into the judge's chambers with you, I'll still be there all the same, all right? And when you come out and it's all over, I'll be there. And I'll drive you back home together. Okay? Now, you remember that?
Scotty, I'd never be able to get through any of this without you. Remembering.
Okay. And when you're in there and if you're feeling afraid and alone, just know that I'm there with you. Right?
Laura, Scotty, look, why don't I pick you up at the campus this afternoon and we can talk this all over in the car on the way over to the courthouse?
I haven't decided if I'm going to go to classes today or not.
Well, Laura, it would be a lot better than just sitting around here. And I'll meet you right after your first class, and we'll go and we'll find Brian. We'll have lunch together. He's always good for something optimistic.
All right. Where shall we meet you, Mr. Lansing?
How about in front of the student union at 3 o'clock? Okay.
Okay, Howard, we'll be there.
Great. All right, I'll see you later.
Yeah, thank you.
Good. Thanks. Right.
Listen, Laura, I'll meet you outside of your first class right in front of the science building, all right? Okay. Cheer up, all right? Rick, I want to go out and talk to Howard, so I'll meet you out in the car, all right? Fine. That's good. All right. Bye, Dr. Weber.
Bye. Dad? Why did Scotty say he's going to wait for you outside?
Because we're going to go see Lou Proctor, and by the time I finish with him, I hope to know why he's been lying and get him to change his story.
Even if you do, there's still that bartender who
Honey,
said to Mr. Higgins right in front of me...
bartender is not going to change his story. I've already tried. But I'm going to try to get to the bottom of it. Maybe by the time I meet you at the courthouse, I will have.
I hope so.
Hey, try not to worry today, and come on, get a nice positive attitude, okay?
Well, just knowing that you and Mother and Scotty all believe me, that helps a lot. I think I'll go up and fix my makeup before I go to class.
Sure.
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Well, if I ever doubted the calming influence Scotty has on her, I wouldn't now. I hope you saw that.
I'd be blind not to. She trusts him like you used to trust me.
Rick, it's not a question of trust.
Call it whatever you like. But if you trust me enough to believe that I can control this thing with Monica, then you should
I believe you can control yourself. That's never been the problem. The problem is the attraction is still there, and it's still a very real threat to me.
Leslie, if you could only understand, that has nothing to do with the
Rick,
way I feel...
I don't think we ought to discuss this now. Not with what's going on. I think we ought to worry about what's going to happen if the judge doesn't believe her.
I'll call you after I see Proctor and let you know what happened.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Are you just about ready to leave for work?
Yes, I am. Honey, if there's anything that I can do or say to help ease the pressure for you today, please tell me.
You can answer a question for me.
Okay.
How much does Mr. Higgins really know about the problems you and Dad are having?
Just what we told you. Judge Stallman in his office received an anonymous phone call telling him that I had left the house, and Mr. Higgins came over to talk to us about it, and we assured him that whatever problems we might be having were not going to make us forget our concern for you and our responsibility to the court.
I wonder if he believed that.
I'm sure he did. You are not going to be penalized today because of our problems. Please believe that.
Really? Even if the judge finds out that there is another woman involved?